Hello, everyone, and welcome to Science. I'm here. Gene is here. Gene, you're looking tremendous, as usual. Teeth look great. Today we're going to be talking about the human circulatory system, the third of our major systems that we're talking about. Your body's got a lot more than three, but this is the third one that we've talked about thus far. It's our big transport system throughout our body. So we're going to chat about it and look at some of the parts today, some of the different components of the circulatory system, as well as the functions of those different components. Okay, and then you're going to need your science notebook and a pencil or a pen to write down some definitions. Maybe you want to quickly sketch a diagram. We're going to get into it. Here we go. So when we're talking about the circulatory system, which is right behind me here in this diagram, we're really dealing with, just to put you in the frame of mind of where our stuff is in our body. Okay, the human heart in an adult, it's about the size of a fist. Kids, it's a little bit smaller, and it's going to sit right about here. Okay, this big bone right here is called your sternum, that kind of connects your ribs together. This is cartilage that holds your ribs, connects your ribs to your sternum, and your heart sits kind of just off to the left a little bit, right behind your sternum. There's a small percentage of people who their organs are actually reversed, and it's over here. But for most people, it's going to be right here on just to the left of, you can feel your sternum right here, this sort of hard bone, right here in the middle of your chest. And the main function of the heart is to pump blood through your circulatory system, through all your blood vessels, and getting all of those nutrients and taking away all of those waste products from all the cells in your body. Your heart is like the diaphragm. It's an involuntary muscle, meaning we don't have to think about it and make a conscious choice. For instance, if I wanted the muscles in my arm to activate so I could raise my hand, I have to think about that, and I have to make a choice with my brain and have my brain send electrical signals to all of my muscles to go, hey, you should raise your hand, right? My hand just doesn't like fly up on its own every 3 seconds without me having to think about it. Every time I'm having to go, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand, okay? Your heart is an involuntary muscle, meaning the electrical signals that pump your heart and activate those muscles in your heart, you don't have to think about them. You don't have to sit there and go, okay, beat, 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 and breathe, and beat and breathe. That would get exhausting if we had to think about it, okay? Which is kind of nice. It's a really good design. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have any brain power for anything else if we had just had to sit there and keep ourselves alive by pumping your heart and inhaling and exhaling. From your heart, there is a series of blood vessels, lots of them, almost like too many to count, because some of them, down to the smallest capillaries, are so small they're thinner than the width of your hair. Okay, and red blood cells can travel only single file through them. They're so small. They can't even go two at a time. They got to go single file through it. Okay, I was reading somewhere, if you took all of the blood vessels out of your body and you laid them end to end, you'd be dead, because you wouldn't have any more blood vessels in your body. Did I make that joke already? I did, with your intestines. But I'm making it again because it's a good joke. But seriously, if you were to take all of the blood vessels in a body and lay it out, smarter people than me that have done the math have said that it would actually be over 60,000 miles, up to potentially 100,000 miles of blood vessels. That's enough to circle the earth twice. That's how many blood vessels you've got going on in your body. It's wild how intricate our circulatory system is and how involved our circulatory system is. Okay, we're not going to focus on all of our blood vessels today. Okay, we're going to break them down into three main categories. You can see them here: veins, arteries, and capillaries. Those are kind of the three main groups we're going to break them into. These vocabulary words might be helpful to write these down. Your veins are the blood vessels that carry blood from your different body systems and different parts of your body to your heart to replenish with oxygen and to get rid of all that carbon dioxide, that waste product that comes from our cells working. Our arteries are the blood vessels that carry that we call oxygenated blood that's filled with oxygen, away from the heart to our body parts. So arteries are going away, veins are coming back in. Okay, and we're going to go through sort of the flow of, we're going to kind of follow the path of a blood cell as it goes through the heart in a second, but I just wanted to give you those vocabulary words. And then capillaries we've already talked about. They're the small blood vessels. They connect everything together. They connect arteries to veins. Their walls of their capillary walls are so thin that nutrients can pass through those walls and waste product can pass through those walls, which is how our red blood cells distribute all of the sort of sugars from our digestive system as well as the oxygen from our lungs into all of our different body parts, and they collect that carbon dioxide and the other waste products that come out when we exhale. Okay, so let's follow our blood cells. We're going to scoot closer to this diagram. Here's our diagram. Now, one thing about this diagram of the circulatory system, it is, well, it looks complicated, but it is much more simplified than our actual circulatory system. This is not scientifically accurate, okay? It's scientifically accurate in that everything's moving in the right direction, and everything's going to the right place, it's in the right sequence, but it doesn't look like if you were to look at an actual circulatory system or a scientifically accurate model of a circulatory system. I did not have enough time to draw the hundreds of thousands of, or the tens of thousands of miles of blood vessels in our whole body. So I simplified things a little. So let's imagine that we are a red blood cell, and we have gone out either to the lower body down here or the upper body up here, and we've distributed all of our oxygen, we've distributed all of our sugars, and we've collected up a bunch of carbon dioxide. Now we're making our way back to the heart, and in blue here we can see our arrows going from our veins. There's two really big veins called vena cava that go into that connect our blood vessels, our blood vessel network into our heart, okay? So we're gonna start by, if you're a blood cell, you're traveling through these veins and you end up in the right atrium, okay? This is kind of the holding center. Atriums are sometimes found in buildings. They're kind of like a lobby, right? So this is kind of like the first holding center for our blood as it enters the heart, okay? Electrical signals, involuntary electrical signals, cause the heart to beat, cause those heart muscles to contract. And then our blood is going to travel, us as a blood cell, is going to travel from the right atrium through this valve, okay? Valves are, as you can see on the word wall, valves right there. Valves are sort of the doorways in our heart, okay? They connect and separate the chambers, and they make sure that our blood is always flowing in one direction, okay? Veins are always going to take blood to the heart, and blood is going to flow through the heart in a certain way, okay? If it were to just kind of go back and forth, we wouldn't have any of that flow, and things would crash together, and our blood pressure would drop, and it would be all kinds of bad. Our system would not work, simply put. So our blood travels from the right atrium through a valve to the right ventricle. The ventricles down here at the bottom of our heart, these are the larger muscles that do the pumping, okay? Atriums are more for holding, ventricles do the pumping, okay? So our heart pumps and our blood travels up our, what we call our pulmonary artery, and goes from the right ventricle into the lungs, okay? Now, in the lungs, a couple things are going to happen, okay? Our blood is going to get distributed into all the capillaries, that's the, probably millions at this point of capillaries within the lungs. And since those capillary walls are so thin, what our capillary walls in our lungs do is they connect to those air sacs in our respiratory system, if you remember from Monday. Those air sacs in our respiratory system that take in air and separate out the oxygen and all the usable parts in the air that we breathe. Okay, and it kind of does a switch. So those alveoli, that's what they're called, those air sacs, the alveoli kind of trade with our blood cells. Okay, it takes the carbon dioxide, gives the oxygen, puts it in the bloodstream, so that our lungs can breathe out the carbon dioxide and all the waste. And then our blood is what's called oxygenated. It's been enriched with oxygen and can now carry oxygen to all of our body systems. So essentially goes into the lungs, both lungs, into the capillaries, and then back through. Now we're in a vein again because we're traveling back to the heart and into the left atrium. Okay, the left side is the oxygenated side. That's the side that's got the oxygen. The right side is the side that handles the deoxygenated blood, the blood that's coming back from the body into the heart to get replenished with oxygen. So it goes through into the left atrium. Again, similar, right? It's kind of a holding tank. The ventricles do the pumping. We have another valve here. So blood flows from the left atrium to the left ventricle. Okay, and then that valve closes off, so blood can't go backwards. From the left ventricle, it then gets pumped into a big artery called the aorta. Okay, you don't need to know aorta, but it gets pumped into a big artery, which then distributes kind of all over and branches off from there and takes that oxygenated blood into all the different parts of our body. Okay, it goes past our digestive system, goes past it and interacts with the capillary, our blood flows through, past our intestines, picks up all those nutrients that's coming out of the chyme from our stomach. It picks up all the sugars that way and then is able to distribute it. Picks up other, can pick up other nutrients along the way. Hormones also get involved. And once it's gone out, given off all its oxygen, distributed all of its nutrients, it comes back again through those veins and starts over. Okay? It takes about 1 minute for a blood cell to make one complete loop around our circulatory system. Just 1 minute, which is roughly, resting heart rates tend to be around something like 75 to 85 beats per minute. Okay, so thinking about those like 75 to 85 beats in a minute, that's how many beats it takes to take one blood cell, take it all the way through our heart, through our lungs, to everywhere it needs to go around our circulatory system, and then back. And we're doing it every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even though we don't know it's happening because we're not thinking about it because it's an involuntary system. Okay, it works automatically. All right, all of these different components working together. If we were to have a problem with any one of these components, the system wouldn't work as designed, which is, why often when people get older, like your heart is one of the things, the most important muscles to take care of, because there's a lot of things that can fail. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in our circulatory system. And so keeping our heart healthy by eating healthy and making sure there's not a lot of like fats building up in our blood vessels, and making sure we're exercising and keeping our heart muscles in shape, that will extend our life and keep us healthier for longer. All right, so I'm going to go through it one more time, quick. If you were a blood cell, here we go. We're going to take the path one more time. Starting from our vena cava, our veins that connect to the heart. Goes in the heart, into the right atrium. Gets pumped into the right ventricle. Gets pumped up the pulmonary artery and into the lungs, where it gets rid of its carbon dioxide and waste. And takes in oxygen from the lungs, okay? Flows back into the left atrium, gets pumped into the left ventricle, and then out to the rest of the body to distribute all of its nutrients and its oxygen. Okay. That was a crash course in the circulatory system. What the exit ticket is going to ask you to do is it's going to ask you to fill in the blanks. It's giving you all these words, well, most of these words over here, and having you fill in the blanks of what goes in where. So thinking about that process of entering the heart through a vein, right? Going to the lungs to collect that oxygen, get rid of that carbon dioxide, coming back into the right side of the heart, or the left side of the heart, to get pumped out to all the body systems. All right, good luck. The video will be available for rewatch shortly. So if you need to watch it again and go through it again, take your time, take all the time you need. I hope this has been a introductory look. Are we looking for mastery on the first time? Of course not. We're just getting introduced to this stuff. It's really complicated. And this is why people go to medical school, for instance, you can be a cardiologist, a doctor that specializes in the heart and can tell you the name of every one of those blood vessels, those major blood vessels, and can tell you about all different kinds of parts of the heart and the circulatory system, if you were interested in that. All right, everybody. I'm saying bye. Gene is saying bye. And we will see you next time. Happy science.